Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with Lloydminster City Council. The license of occupation policy was brought in front of council again during the last meeting. Our Sarah Baker has a story.
The license of occupation policy is about deeming what is and is not appropriate to have in the road right-of-way. Since the last meeting this was discussed, there has been a change of moving that signs used by businesses for advertisement may be approved, a decision that many councillors are happy about.
Administration heard what we had commented and some of the public comments that were made about not totally restricting signs and advertisements on the city's right-of-ways, and they did make it so that they can be allowed. They made a provision in the one area that they may be approved on some of the city's lands.
The new change will ensure that while business advertisements are allowed to be approved, the city can also control the amount in order to ensure things don't get cluttered.
I think it's important that as a city we're open for business and allow the ability for that advertisement, but I still believe that the city needs to have some level of control as to where those things are going to ensure that it's safe for motorists and that it's not cluttered.
During the meeting, some councillors still thought that this decision shouldn't be made solely based on the response from the Your Voice night held by the city. However, council will continue to do its best to try and ensure the policy is as fair as possible.
People feel that the land in front of their property may be theirs, but in the case it is city responsibility, and ensuring that we follow the rules across the city regarding advertising as well as signage, be it advertising, be it for a non-profit organization. We just want to ensure that the signs are cleanly. They also meet the fact that they should be at a point that the message is clear and concise, but also with good taste, I would believe is the term to use from that perspective. So we really want to ensure that it's being fair across the city for all concerned.
A final decision on approving the policy will be made at a future meeting. Sarah Baker, Primetime Local News.
And now it's time to toss it over once again to Markus Taylor, who has another look at your evening weather forecast.
Thanks so much, Jace. So we can take a look starting in the central regions of the current temperatures in the area. We can see Athabasca and Jasper both sitting at about 27 degrees. White Court is sitting at 25. Cold Lake up there in the north, that's the hottest in the Alberta region. It's sitting at a nice warm 28 degrees currently. Down in the south, Rocky Mountain House sitting at 24, same as Red Deer, so it's a little cooler in those areas. Taking a look at the Saskatchewan side, Meadow Lake up there in the north, 27 degrees, same as North Battleford. Those are the highest. Prince Albert, Melfort, and Saskatoon all sitting at 24. That's the lowest in the Saskatchewan region. Moving on to the northern region, Uranium City, Stony Rapids, La Loche, Buffalo Narrows, all sitting at about 27 degrees currently. Southern and Wollaston Lake are both sitting at 28. And Flin Flon, down there in the south, it's sitting at 22, so a little bit colder. On the Alberta side, we can take a look, high level up there in the north, 28 degrees. Slave Lake at the bottom, 22 degrees. That's the lowest on the Alberta side in the northern region. And lastly, we can take a look, the southern regions here, Coronation and Calgary, both sitting at 26 degrees. Lethbridge and Banff, both at 27. And Medicine Hat, nice warm, 30 degrees, very hot there. Yorkton, over there in Saskatchewan, 22 degrees. It's in Estevan, it's about 27. Moose Jaw, it's the same as Medicine Hat, it's 30 degrees, so pretty warm in those two areas. If you're there, make sure you're staying out of the sun. And now we can take a look at the overnight temperatures. Meadow Lake, Provost, and Murnum, 12, 11, and 10 for the lows. Specifically, Pierceland and Bonnyville are both going to hit lows of 13 degrees overnight. We'll see some cloud in Bonnyville, Meadow Lake, and Pierceland, but shouldn't be any rain anywhere. Murnum will hit the lowest overnight temperature at 10 degrees, and Isle La Crosse should hit the highest overnight low at 16. Taking a look at tomorrow's temperatures around the region, we can see Isle La Crosse should get up to about 29 degrees up there in the north. Same with Macklin way down there in the south. Lac La Biche on the Alberta side and Bonnyville should also hit 29 degrees. Provost and Marwayne are only going to get up to about 27. Wainwright will also be hitting 29 degrees, for the high tomorrow. And finally, your 7-day forecast in Lloydminster. Thursday, it's going to be bright and sunny, 27 degrees for the high. As we move into Friday and start the weekend, you know, we have the CPCA finals coming up, so we're looking to see some nice weather. 28 degrees on Friday should start that off. It's going to be nice and bright and sunny. Then we'll move on to Saturday. It's going to be 30 degrees for the high on that day, so definitely going to be a warm one, but some clouds in the sky should keep that sun a little bit away. Maybe you can drop down on your SPF levels a little bit. Sunday it'll be 27 degrees for the high with some cloud. Monday, nice bright sunny day, 26 degrees for the high, 14 degrees for the low on that day. Tuesday we'll see the clouds come around, 24 degrees for the high. Wednesday it should be about 23 degrees for the high and some clouds here and there. Your averages for the week, 27 degrees for the high and 14 degrees for the low. That's all the time we have for weather. We'll be back with more Primetime Local News after the break.
We're here at Halstead Downs for the site of the new Lloydminster Nissan CPCA Finals. With me, as always, we have Greg Buchanan, the CPCA radio voice and announcer. And so, Greg, let's talk a little bit about how the CPCA Finals work and what's going to be happening on each day and how important it is for each of these drivers, especially the ones near the top, each and every night.
It's like the Stanley Cup Final, the World Series, and the Super Bowl all thrown into 5 days here for the sport of chuck wagon racing for the CPCA. You have 5 days. You have 4 days on Wednesday to Saturday. That's the points. So at the end of Saturday night, the top 4 drivers at the end of Saturday night will be in the Canadian Championship Dash Sunday afternoon. So tonight, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday are hugely important days. It's almost like 3 months of racing gets summarized in 4 days here. And for drivers that aren't in the top 4, want to get in the top 4, the drivers that are in the top 4, they want to stay there.
And so we'll talk about a few of those top 4 drivers. Yep. Jamie Labacan, a local, pretty close local product. Not DJ King. We've got Logan Baptiste, Todd Baptiste, and
Logan Gorst. Yeah,
Logan Gorst. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm tripping over the names.
Yeah.
And also Preston Faithful, a newer face to the top half of this. They need to do what do they need to do to stay in those top 4 spaces, and the guys who are close need to do to continue to be there?
Well, for Preston Faithful, for example, he keeps on doing what he's been doing. A number of weeks ago, he was outside that top 4. Now he's in 3rd spot after last weekend in Meadow Lake. Todd Baptiste takes out a couple of barrels, his outrider as well as himself in Meadow Lake. That dropped him to 3rd to 4th, and all of a sudden now Luke Tournier, who's won a countless number of championships, former Calgary Stampede champion, a legendary driver in the sport, is now sitting 3 points back at Todd Baptiste for 4th. So there's some interesting battles going on. And much of the other one, of course, is a High Point Driver Award. Jamie Labacan has somewhat of a comfortable lead on Logan Gorst, but in chuck wagon racing, nothing's ever comfortable. You take on a barrel, you have in no time, all of a sudden, the 20-point lead that you have could evaporate in a hurry.
And so, for those who are just on the cusp, on the outside looking in, is there anything they can do to just do extra, or do they need to just stay consistent and kind of a little bit hope for the best?
The thing you hear in chuck wagon racing is all the time, be fast, be clean. So if you're fast and you're clean, good things can happen to you. Put the pressure on the drivers that are ahead of you. If you're fast and you're clean, those drivers ahead of you that you're trying to catch, they have to be the same thing.
And so you mentioned Jamie has a quite comfortable lead for that top spot. How important is getting that top spot? What advantages does Jamie get for having that first spot, or is it more just a little bit of a bragging rights for him?
It's a little bit of both. If he's a top spot at the end of racing on Saturday night, he wins a High Point Driver Award, which is a vehicle from the new Lloydminster Nissan. And on top of that, he gets the first pick of the barrels on Championship Sunday, where they pick out of a hat. Now, whether or not picking out of a hat and picking the first is a good thing, who knows, depending what ball you pull out of that hat. If you pull barrel number 1, your first one to pick, great. If you're the first one to pick and you pick barrel number 4, it was not a good Sunday afternoon.
It's just like picking the chase the ace that has been happening here at Lloydminster at the Lloyd X grounds. And then one other thing, we've been talking quite a bit throughout the year about how important it is to rest your good horses on some days. And what are the strategies? Is it going to be kind of more the same here at the end, or are there going to be some different strategies, especially for those near the top?
Well, I think more than anything, we talk about a marathon in chuck wagon racing, and the NACC was one, and this is a shorter marathon in 5 days. But when you look at the bigger picture here, the marathon started on a Friday night in June in Yorkton, and the marathon continued until this week here in Lloydminster. So the marathon is 3 months now. So along those 3 months, a lot of different things can happen to your barn, and likely did for a lot of the drivers. So you are doing a little mixing and matching, but you're going to try to hook your best outfits here, depending what barrel you're on here in Lloydminster for the 5 days, for your chance to win some money and a chance to win possibly a Canadian championship.
And so there's obviously the CPCA racing, but there also are some extra events that will be taking place after all of the races. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that, Greg?
Well, there's a fundraiser that New Lloydminster Nissan is part of tonight. There is young children here in Lloydminster that lost their mother in a plane crash a short time ago, and the New Lloydminster Nissan, along with Dirt Rich Band, are having a benefit concert for that, raising money for the children. That is tonight in the beer garden here at the CPCA Finals. And then there's family night on Thursday. There's Pink Friday night, of course, that is for breast cancer research. And also on Saturday, it's a Chuck Wagon Cabaret featuring Billy Dean, and then Championship Sunday. So it's 5 days, it's Wagon Week. It's something to be excited about.
Exactly. A very exciting week here at Halstead Downs and for the new Lloydminster Nissan CPCA Finals. Thank you once again, Greg. We'll have probably one more talk to do a little bit of a wrap-up of the season afterwards, but it's been a pleasure talking with you this whole time. And we'll have more coverage of the CPCA Finals here on PTLN coming up soon.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Joining us today for Primetime Local News is country artist Jason Blaine. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, Jason.
Well, thank you for having me on the program. Thanks so much, Shelby.
Of course, no problem. A lot going on for you right now. Really wanted to be able to speak with you, especially for fans here in the border city. Now, this is pretty big for you, but you recently received a Canadian Country Music Association Award nomination for the Alternative Country Album of the Year, and this is for your album, Diamonds in the Desert. So let's kind of get started with that. Okay, how does it feel to know that you've received this?
Oh, it's fantastic. This is a really special record. I poured my heart into this record, wrote it over 2020 and then recorded it in 2021 and we put it out into the world. It's been so well received. But the CCMA nomination is voted on by CCMA members, and to make the final ballot going into this awards weekend in September is huge, because it's voted on by your peers and by your respected peers and friends in the industry. So it really means a lot. I think all I've ever wanted to do was just to really be a part of this community. I love touring, I love playing, but to be a part of this community of country music, that's what I wanted since I set out on this journey.
And that's really good to hear, that how strong that support has been. I kind of wanted to get a little bit also into the Diamonds in the Desert album. Can you kind of give us a little bit of a backstory on this album, kind of explain what it's all about?
Yes. Well, this is a record that's been in my heart for many years, and those close to me know that. Some of the songs, even though they hadn't been written, I knew the type of record I wanted to make. And so some of them are older songs, and some of them I wrote myself, in my lonely time in the desert during COVID. That's a little bit where the title came from. We felt like during that time when everything was shut down, we had the rug pulled out from underneath our industry. We were just kind of I turned 40 that year, and I found myself in very unfamiliar territory. I'm used to touring. I'm used to getting out on the road with my band and the fans. And so we were just kind of in the desert, not sure what to do. But there's the whole concept. It's a little bit heady, but the concept is that if you step out in faith and you search for it, there could be some diamonds, there could be some gems out there in the desert. You just have to kind of go out into the unknown and in faith. That's what I think this record is. And it's really a return to very old influences of mine, the things that made me fall in love with music to begin with. I really had to go back to the well and remind myself why I love music in the first place. So I'm talking the Eagles. I'm talking, Vince Gill, who now plays in the Eagles. I'm talking about Tom Petty, the singer-songwriter side of Tom Petty. Some like Willie Nelson. Their last track on the record is very like old school country that I was raised on. So there's a little bit of that. I just really wanted to get my heart on record. Some of the stuff I had never done before, because I always was pursuing mainstream radio, and that's a very different animal than just making up whatever you want.
And that's a really nice message to get across to, listeners and your fans out there, especially the ones that are, struggling through this time when it comes to the pandemic, kind of sending that message out to there is always really beautiful to be able to send out. And now I know this album, you know, it's already racked up over 1 million streams, and this is adding to nearly 24 million total global streams for you. And that's like amazing to hear. So how does it feel to know how much support you really received from this album after releasing it?
Oh, it's been really great. And one of the really cool things about the modern era of streaming that we're in is this record wouldn't have been possible maybe 5 to 7 years ago whenever I was starting to think about recording a record like this. Ultimately, it would end up in a Walmart discount bin or something like that, and people would have to go dig to find it. But the cool thing is, for the fans that have been following me for a long time or following along on social media, I could tease it, I could put it out there and put some teasers out and then say, hey, on this date, this record is dropping. And then, you know, at that Friday night at midnight, everybody's got it. You know, the whole world can get it all at once. You don't need to go and dig for it. Just use your favorite streaming, you know, service. And it's, you know, whether it's Spotify or Apple or Amazon or what have you, it's out there. And, you know, it used to be all about like singles only on records. And then all of these other songs, as songwriters, you care so much about every song. And then they just kind of get lost, you know, but now every song has a shot.
Well, I'm glad we're able to speak about this album. So for anybody out there that haven't had the chance to check it out, they can go check out Diamonds in the Desert. But I also wanted to be able to bring this up. I know that you had a performance slot for going on August 5th, and you have several other summer shows that are kind of lined up. Can you kind of talk a little about what you got planned going on for the summer for people that kind of want to catch you live?
Yes, we have some more tour dates yet this summer. A lot in Ontario. I really do want to get back out to Lloydminster. I want to get back out your way. I love the fans out there. It's been a long time since we've been out west. I don't know why. I think that part of it is the 2-year gap, and we've done a lot of stuff in Ontario. But so for anybody who's listening, bring us to out your way. We want to come back, and I think we'll be very intentional about getting out there, perhaps in the fall or the new year. But I just love playing live. All my dates are up at jasonblaine.ca/tour, and follow me on Instagram, Jason Blaine Official, blue check mark. And it's been so fun playing some of these old hits, many hits. Some of these videos we shot out your way 2 years ago, that spans the last 16 years. It's hard to believe it's been 16 years. And now we can play some of these old songs, some of the new ones, and the new ones from the record, and they've been really well received this summer.
Oh, well, that's great to hear. And hopefully, yes, like you were saying, you can make your way back into the border city for the fans out here. I'm sure they'd love to see it, but I guess maybe they'll have to get to Ontario and try and catch you in person for now. But hopefully, who knows, we'll see what comes up. But is there anything else you'd like to add, like that you got coming up other than, of course, with the tours, like some secret works you're working on, a little teaser or anything like that?
Well, I plan to finish out this record. The Diamonds in the Desert record has 7 songs on it, and I plan on recording a few more and pressing a vinyl at some point in the near future. I always want to hold a physical something in my hand. But we're going to have a great time at the CCMAs this year, and then we'll get a tour in the works to get back out your way. Miss everybody out there.
Perfect. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us today, Jason. It was really great speaking with you.
Great speaking with you. Thanks so much, Shelby.
And taking a look now at your 7-day forecast for Lloyd. Tomorrow, Thursday, it's going to be a bright 27-degree for the high day. As we move into Friday and the start of the weekend, you know, we have CPCA finals this weekend, and it's looking to be nice and gorgeous. It's going to be 28 degrees for the high on Friday. As we move into Saturday, it's going to get cloudy, but the heat will stay there. It's going to be 30 degrees for the high on Saturday. We'll see a little bit of cloud on Sunday, but it should still stay warm at 27 degrees for the high. Then Monday, the sun will come back out. It'll be 26 degrees for the high on that day, so you could definitely catch some rays that day if you'd like. Tuesday, it's going to be 24 degrees, so as we get to the end of the week, it's going to cool down a little bit. The clouds will start to come out. Wednesday, we can see more of the same. It'll be like 25 degrees for the high and some cloud here and there. Your averages for the week, 27 degrees for the high and 14 degrees for the low.
Thank you so much for that, Marcus. And thank you all for joining us for our first hour of Primetime Local News. Our second hour continues next.